What's up, everyone? It's Bones here. In today's video, I'll be featuring, well, I don't really know what I'll be featuring. It's just a bunch of cards. But before I begin, if you could happen to click on those thumbs up and subscribe buttons, it would be greatly appreciated, as it goes a long way in supporting the channel and shows me that you like content like this. Clicking on those notification bells would also mean a lot, as it notifies you when I upload on the channel. So, for the first card that we have here that I want to highlight and read over, it's also the only one that I'm going to be reading over since we are using a lot of the new cards. And this is Quem, and it reads, this card is always treated as a Dogmatica and Despia card. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can send one Fallen of Albaz or one card that mentions it from your deck to the graveyard. If a card leaves the extra deck, you can target one Fallen of Albaz or one monster that mentions it in your graveyard except Quem, special summon it. You can only use each effect of Quem once per turn. So this video, I want to show a bunch of different ways that you can actually use this card, different than what may have been intended, but I also want to show how you can even implement it as a mini engine to do all kinds of different stuff and open a lot of possibilities that you're going to see because of some of the engines that become available through Cyberstorm access. So we're going to start this hand here by activating the Signet Mining, pitching the Circular, as we'll then be able to get the Diameter, and then use the Hero Lives, as we'll bring out the Prisma. And if you've seen my Mana Dome video, you'd know where this is going sort of, but we're going to use the Prisma in order to copy the Vicious, send the Visas Estrade, as we'll then be able to send the Sigma off of the Mathmech Circular, special summon it, and then from here we're going to normal summon the Diameter, triggering the Circular as we can use the Diameter as chainlink to bring back the Sigma as we get the addition for the equation, and then from here we'll be able to go into our Alimbertion as we're going to use the Alimbertion's effect now, detaching 3 as we do have an Omni Negate for turn, which is nice, and we're going to get ourselves Luna the Dark Spirit, which is just a free body level 4, as we're going to now go into the Lightheart, and we'll get ourselves the addition of the Reichphobia as we'll now activate it, and then from here we can get ourselves an addition of Reichheart as we're going to use the equation now, and this is going to give us 3 defense position monsters, so now we can special summon out the Reichheart and get ourselves an add for the Arrival along with a draw. So from here we're going to go into our Cross Sheep, go into our Vicious, and then from here we can trigger the Cross Sheep, getting back the Prisma, use the Prisma, and I do note that you're only going to take this route if you play the second copy of Vicious, and in the final draft of this deck I didn't put the second copy of Vicious, and you'll see why over time, but I do want to get a lot of the ideas out of the way so that you can see the full functionalities of what you can do and how much you can do. So from here we're going to send the second copy of Visas, use the Lightheart from our graveyard to bring that back. We'll then go into the Skulldread, and the Skulldread is going to then use its effect in order to bring out the Quem. The Quem will now send the Cartesia, and from here we can bring out the Luna by banishing the Lightheart in our graveyard, triggering the Skulldread as we're now going to go into our Dugaris, and then from here we can trigger the Quem, which will bring back the Cartesia, and then from here we can use the Cartesia's effect in order to bring out the Grand Ganol, and the Grand Ganol will be able to get us a send of a level 6 or higher dark or light monster, in which this case we're going to send the Christia, and because we have the Dugaris, we can now bring that back. So we're now going to be able to go into our Hope Harbinger. You can go into IP Masquerena, that's another option, or you can go into Appaloosa, whatever you want to do, but we're going to use the Arrival now, and then from here we'll be able to use the Alimbertion, tributing the Skulldread to bring back the Circular, and now we can go into our Baron as we're then going to bring back the Sigma since the extra monster zone is now free, and now we can go into our Lingaribo as we'll then use the Dugaris in order to bring back the Christia, and this will round out our end board. Now I want to do a second iteration of this hand, and you'll see that this deck is somewhat similar to the Formud FTK quote-unquote that came out in that previous YCS. I don't remember which one it was, but we're going to start this one similarly using the Signet Mining to pitch the Effect Failure, get ourselves the Diameter, and then from here we can activate the A Hero Lives as we'll be able to bring out the Prisma. From here we can use the Prisma, copy the name of Visas as we'll then send the Visas, and then from here we can go into our Lightheart, use the Lightheart in order to get us the Field Spell, and you'll see that we're doing stuff in different order this time, and you'll see why, but we're going to use the Field now in order to get the Reichheart, and then from here we can bring out the Reichheart as we'll be able to get ourselves the Arrival, and then from here we're going to go into Cross Sheep, use the Parallel Exceed, and this is just to keep resources in our hand because we still have access into a 3 material Alimbertion with Diameter on it, so we're then going to be able to bring out an extra body off the Parallel Exceed, as we'll then use the Circular now, sending the Sigma, and then from here we can normal summon the Diameter. So we're just going all out and not playing around anything really, as we're going to bring back the Sigma off the Diameter, and then from here we're going to go into a 4-material Alimbertion, and then we're going to use its effect, which will allow us to add a copy of Nadir Servant. So you can sort of see where this is going, maybe, as we're going to bring out the Vicious, use the effect of the Cross Sheep in order to bring back the Prisma, use the Prisma again in order to copy the Visas, and then bring back the Lightheart, and then from here we can go into our Appaloosa, as we'll then go into our Lingeribo, use the equation to bring back the Diameter, which happens to be a tuner, and then we can go into our Omega, use the Arrival to bring back the Visas. We can then use the Alimbertion to tribute itself. You have to remember we won't have the negate during the next turn, so we can just get it through the Baron that we'll go into now, as we can then activate the Nadir Servant, and then from here we'll send the Lulu Wallace, as we'll be able to get the Quem to hand, and then in the end phase the Lulu Wallace will actually be able to bring out your Cartesia that you can end up fusing away your Quem with in order to bring out the Grand Ganol and then get you Ascend from either something in the extra deck or the deck. So now I want to show a couple of hands where we don't draw the greatest. In fact, you see Quem, we have Sigma, and Cartesia. So what do we do? And the answer is we're going to send the Albion off of Quem, and this is going to give us the Albaz in the graveyard for the Cartesia, and then from here we can use the Cartesia, which will fuse itself along with the Sigma in hand, so that we can go into the Grand Ganol, trigger off the Quem, bringing back the Cartesia, and then from here we can send the Garura from our extra deck. You can send other stuff, it depends on what you're playing, but we're going to get ourselves an extra draw, and we're going to also go into the Alimbertion, which will allow us to get into a Mathmech monster, and from here we'll be able to get the Circular, use the Circular's effect in order to send the Diameter, and then from here we'll be able to use the Alimbertion, bring back the Diameter, as from here we're going to trigger the Circular, get ourselves the Equation, and then from here we can go into our Dugaris, use its effect, which will be able to bring back a monster from our graveyard in defense position, which will bring back the Quem, use the Sigma, and then from here we'll be able to go into the IP Masquerena along with a Lingeribo and the Equation and the Fallen of Albaz, or quote-unquote Fallen of Albaz, the Albion that we have in graveyard. But there's just a lot of stuff that we can do here, as we have access into a level 8 Synchro, we have access into an Appaloosa, we have 3 hand traps in our hand, but this is really just scratching the surface. Now for this next hand, and I'll be showing a different direction that you can take with it, and we're going to start this one by normal summoning the Quem. We'll be able to send our Albion, as we'll be able to special summon out the Cartesia, use the Cartesia pitching itself along with the Sigma going into our Grand Ganol, use the Grand Ganol triggering the Quem, and then from here we'll be able to get our Cartesia back. We'll send the Christia, as we'll go into the Dugaris, use the Sigma in order to get ourselves a Lingeribo before we use the Dugaris, but we'll be able to get ourselves the Christia this way, locking our opponent out of special summoning with a trap negation for the Imperm on your Christia, which just happens to be convenient and nice, paired with hand traps that you may have. Now, I want to get into some of the one-card combos, because I've been showing a ton of the hands, and I still want to show what you do in this particular build when you have your one card, and this is a 1.5 as you see the discard, but we're going to use the Sigma in order to revive itself, and then from here we're going to trigger the Circular to get ourselves the Equation, and then from here we can go into our Alimbertion, use the Alimbertion in order to get us a search for a Mathmech, as we'll then get ourselves the Diameter, normal summon the Diameter, and then from here we can bring back the Sigma, as we're then going to be able to go into our IP Masquerena, link away for the Lingeribo, bring back the Equation, and then from here we'll have the IP Masquerena for a Unicorn or Appaloosa, but if we go into the Unicorn we have the discard. So that's what we can get off of just Mathmech Circular. Now for a Hero Lives, and this is probably the most basic one, as we're going to bring out the Prisma. You saw that I'm only on one copy of the Vicious, so in this case we're just going to go into our Lightheart, get ourselves the Reichphobia that will get us the Reichheart. We can then special summon out the Reichheart, special summon it, use its effect, which will get us the Arrival, and then from here we can use the Arrival to bring back the Visas, and then from here with just one card we'll get ourselves the Omni Negation through Baron. Now for this next one we have Formud Skipper, and this is probably something that's already known as well, but we're going to use its effect. We'll go into our Lightheart, triggering the Formud Skipper along with the Lightheart, getting ourselves the Reichphobia and the Parallel Exceed, and then from here we'll be able to activate the Reichphobia, getting ourselves the Reichheart, special summon out the Reichheart as we can use its effect, getting ourselves the Arrival. Then we can go into our Cross Sheep, use the Parallel Exceed in order to summon it to its zone, get ourselves the extra body, and then from here we'll be able to go into the Alimbertion, use the Alimbertion's effect, which will be able to net us a search for the Circular, as then from here we're going to be able to use the Circular, send the Sigma, and then from here we can use the effect of the Alimbertion in order to bring back the Sigma, triggering the Circular, getting ourselves the Equation, giving us 2 Monster Reborns, but now we'll go into a 3rd Monster Reborn via Dugaris, as we'll be able to get back the Sigma, use the Equation to bring back the Circular, as we're then going to go into our Omega, use the effect of Cross Sheep since we won't be fusion summoning, we don't have the Visa Starfrost access here, but we'll bring back the Reichphobia in order to get ourselves the Appaloosa, giving ourselves a hand rip along with 3 monster negations off of just 1 card. Now I want to show a couple of 3-card combos using the same 3 cards here, and I'll also show a test hand with it because there's more that you can do, but I just want to show direction while doing these combos along with some of the stuff that you can do. But we're going to normal summon the Reichheart, use its effect, getting ourselves the Arrival, go into our Lightheart as we'll be able to use its effect in order to get ourselves the Field Spell, activate the Field Spell as we'll be able to get ourselves a copy of Visos, use the Visos in order to destroy the Lightheart, special summon itself out, bring back the Lightheart, and then from here we can go into our Cross Sheep, triggering the Parallel, use its effect in order to get ourselves the extra body, and then from here we'll activate our Arrival, getting ourselves back the Visa Starfrost. This can allow us to go into the Baron, so that's what I mean by the first way, that we don't get a level 4 in order to go into a big Alimbertion, but we're going to get ourselves the Dugaras via the 2 level 4s, bring out the Vicious, the Cross Sheep will then bring out another monster as we bring out the Sigma, use the effect of the Dugaris, which will be able to bring back the Parallel Exceed so that we can go into a rank 8, and then we can go into the Appaloosa, giving us an end board of Baron, Hope, and the Appaloosa with 3 negations. Now for this second iteration, we are going to bring back the Reichheart off the Arrival, and this is going to change things a lot as you'll see, but we're going to go into our Lightheart, use its effect in order to get us the Reichphobia, activate the Reichphobia as we'll be able to get an addition for the Visas, and then we'll be able to use the Visas in order to pop the Lightheart, get it to the graveyard so we can revive it, give ourselves the Cross Sheep access, and then we can trigger the Parallel, bring that out, as we're then going to use its effect and bring out another copy of itself, as we're going to activate the Arrival now, bring back the Reichheart, as we're now going to use the Circular, sending the Sigma, and now we have 3 level 4s, or 4 level 4s actually, as we're going to go into our Alimbertion and then use its effect, and this will be able to get us a copy of Nadir Servant, as we're then going to be able to go into our Vicious, use the effect of the Cross Sheep in order to bring back the Circular, go into our Appo, go into our Lingeribo, activate the Nadir Servant, and from here we'll be able to get our Lulu Wallace effect in the end phase to get ourselves the Cartesia, and then we can get the Cartesia's effect on our opponent's turn to fuse away with Quem in order to go into our Grand Ganol and get us some follow-up or get us whatever we need to, whether it be a draw via Garura or whatever you want to play. Now for the final replay, and I'm sorry for all the repetition, but it's because so much of the combos are kind of known. It's really just the utilization of Quem that's important in this video, because everything else you can find all over the internet by now, but we're going to be able to normal summon the Reichheart as we're going to get its effect, get the Arrival as we'll be able to use the effect of the Lightheart, as we're then going to get the Reichphobia, activate the Reichphobia in order to get the Visas, as we'll then be able to use the Visas popping the Lightheart, bring back the Lightheart with its effect, as we're then going to go into our Cross Sheep, triggering the Parallel, and then from here we're going to use the Parallel Exceeds effect in order to get ourselves the Parallel from our deck, as we're going to bring back the Reichphobia or the Reichheart, and then we're going to bring out our Circular, sending the Sigma, and this will give us a 4 material Alimbertion again, as we're going to use its effect in order to get ourselves the Nadir Servant. This time around we have Small World with the effect Veiler, and this is something cool about the deck as we go into Vicious, where we're going to bring back the Sigma off the Cross Sheep, use the Alimbertion in order to bring back the Circular, go into our Omega, and now we can use the Small World, and we have a lot of bridges here that we can can go into, but we're going to send Santa Claus and the effect Veiler, as we're going to be able to get the Lubellion to our hand, use the effect of Lubellion, and from here we'll be able to get ourselves Saronir, use the effect of Saronir, banishing the Lightheart, bring itself out as we're going to bring out the Lubellion. The Saronir will be able to get a send for the Retribution, as we'll now use the Lubellion in order to get a branded Regained, and this works great with your Omega, I would like to point out, but we're going to go into IP now, and there's obviously different things that you can do here, but I'm just going to play the safe way as we're going to go into our Nadir Servant, send a Lulu Wallace, get the Quem, as we're then going to go to the end phase, giving us the Cartesia so that we can go into our Grand Ganol. You can even trigger the Cross Sheep, getting you another revival so that you have even more follow-up, but you'll also have the draw via the branded Regained that you get when you snipe a card from your opponent's hand with Omega. So with all of the combos out of the way, we can finally get onto the deck profile, and the first thing I would like to touch up on is the engines with the 3 A Hero Lives, the Prisma, the 3 Quems, the Cartesia, and the Nadir Servant, and you can see that there's a lot of stuff from the combos that you can do with them, especially considering how Quem is able to go into Grand Ganol, which basically sends any level 6 or higher dark or light monster from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard, which gives you options like the Gorura, or you have your Archlord Christia. You also have stuff like Destiny Hero Malicious, where you can get yourself an extra extender and then be able to go into something like Beatrice in order to get yourself some rank 6 plays. What I don't like about that is the fact that you have to commit an extra deck slot to a play that's not necessarily too consistent, as there's usually other plays that you can make in regards to what you have in your opening hand, so I just don't feel it's worth going out of your way. With that being said, something that I do like about this deck in general is the fact that you do have a lot of 1-card starters to accompany these engines, because there may be times where, as you saw, you do get something like Sigma and maybe you open 2 Quems, and you don't really know what you're going to do until you realize that Quem can fuse away with Sigma, Sigma can revive itself, turn into Lingeribo, and it's just little points of interaction like that which make this deck very interesting in my opinion. Not to say that it's perfect, because it's not by any imagination. I do think that there's a lot of optimization that can be done with it. Want to keep the hand trap count a bit high though, considering that we are on 60 and we are on about 21 hand traps if you include the Bystials. And another thing I would like to point out in regards to all the options here are the fact that you do see a lot of extra deck monsters, and it's because I feel like a lot of the optimizations can also be made in the extra deck, where there may be times where you do want to go into Singularity, and there's also times where you're going to have a Skull Dread that you want to link away with and not go into your Appaloosa, so going into your Singularity can give you some bounces. Then you also have the Tornado Dragon, which can serve as a disruption on your opponent's turn, specifically with the Cyberstorm access stuff, as you can pop the super heavy Samurai scales, you can also pop the Eevee continuous spell. There's stuff like field spells that you can pop that would be good to pop, and it just has a lot of utility that may be slept on this format. Then there's also the Disbatter, which I don't consider playing because we are not on enough Bystials. I do think that if Bystials become dominant, there is a place for it though, because it would be a nice addition if we could play it. The Gizmek and the Destrudo are just other options that you can send off of the Grand Ganol. Another thing that I would like to point out is that the Muckracker is an easy card that you can make on your end board that you can use after sending maybe a End of Anubis or a Chaos Hunter through the Grand Ganol, and then revive it with the Muckracker on formats where these cards may be good. You'll also see that we have the Iris Sword Soul that you can end up bringing out via the Lulu Walleth in order to get you into an extra quote-unquote disruption. You'll also see the Diana the Light Spirit, which you can interchange between these two. I just feel like once you revive the Lightheart, put it into the graveyard, it's just an easy banish. But one last thing I would actually like to point out with Lulu Walleth is the fact that with the Dogmatica stuff being something that you can bring out from the deck during your end phase, you can also do something crazy like maybe play an Ecclesia along with a Fleur in order to give you an extra hand trap but that does take some main deck slots that may not be worth it. You'll also see that we do have the Merrymaker, which could go into your Champion Sargus, and this will get you access into your Therion King Regulus to give you an extra form of negation, while you also have the ability to play Kit and Sprint if you do want to go heavier into the Albaz stuff, which can be an option, though I wouldn't really recommend it considering that you do want to be able to combo with the rest of your deck, and that does require a good amount of extra deck space to do so. Outside of all of that, I would like to touch up on some of the other options like Branded Regained and the Branded Retribution. These are just things that you can send off of Albion to make sure that you can get that extra draw off it, because it is nice for it to be a upstart at times, and being able to get yourself a send when you're able to get another send off of Signet Mining, sometimes getting these two into the graveyard like that can come up, and being able to get back the Branded Regain via the Retribution like that just feels like a nice way to get some of that card advantage back, as you're most likely going to be able to use the Regained on the turn that you activate it, as well as you have stuff like Omega that can trigger it, or you can even just use your Bestials in order to banish something. Going into Vicious Shroud ends up banishing stuff from your graveyard that meets the materials for the Branded Regained in order to get your plus off of it. But outside of that, I don't think that there's too much left I need to say that I didn't talk about in the combos, so I'm just going to get onto the card by card, where we have 3 A Hero Lives, 3 Circular, the 3 Forma Skipper, 3 Quem, the 1 Cartesia, the 1 Sigma, the 1 Diameter, the 1 Prisma, the 3 Signet Mining, the 3 Small World, 3 Parallel Exceed, Nadir Servant, Branded Regained, Equation, the 2 Reich cards, the 2 Visa Starfrost, Arrival along with Reichphobia, Luna along with Albion, Christia, Lubellion, the Druis Worm, Saranir, the Baldrake, the 3 Santa Claus, the 3 Droll, the 3 Ash, the 3 Ghost Ogre, the 3 Effect Veiler, the 3 Imperm, the Retribution. To the extra deck, we have the 1 Skuldred, we have the Appaloosa, the Nightmare Unicorn, the Cross Sheep, the IP Masquerena, Lightheart, Lingeribo, Vicious, Granganol, the Lulu Wallace, which sometimes you do want to play 2 of. We have the Baron, we also have the Omega, we have the number 38, the Alan Bershin, and the Dugaris to round out the deck profile. But anyways, if you made it this far into the video, I thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. If you have any suggestions, feel free to leave them down below. It's Bones, signing out.